Ghosk of Ghoulie Grange.
Help! Popeye, help!
Olive Oil, Popeye's girlfriend, let out an ear-piercing scream. Popeye was outside Olive's house, chopping down a tree with his bare hands.
Timber!
The tree fell down with a tremendous crash. Unfortunately, it fell the wrong way and landed on Popeye. Blam! Pushing him deep into the ground.
Blistering barnacles. That's the last time I do woodcutting for Olive. It gives me noggin a terrible ache.
Popeye pulled himself out of the ground and pushed down the egg-sized lump on his head. Then he heard Olive screaming.
Help! Popeye, save me!
Oh my gosh, Olive's in danger. I'm coming, Olive.
Popeye sped across the garden like an express train. He smashed through the front door without opening it. Olive was in the kitchen, standing on a chair.
Popeye, help! Rescue me!
Popeye looked all around, but he couldn't understand why Olive was screaming.
What's the matter, Olive? Who's frightening you? I'll knock his bloomin' head off.
Olive pointed to the floor, where a tiny house spider was scuttling about.
That's the monster, Popeye! Hit it! Bash it! Pulverize it!
Popeye sat on the floor and laughed.
Ah, You're scared by a itsy-bitsy spider. You is a wimp, Olive.
Olive didn't like being laughed at. She picked up her big frying pan and slammed it down on Popeye's head. Wham!
You ain't very genteel, is you, Olive? I'm your friend.
Popeye rubbed his sore head, which now had 2 big lumps on it. Then he picked up the spider and released it into the garden.
Go on, you little monster. Before Olive brains you, too.
Olive climbed off the chair and fumed at Popeye.
I am not a wimp. I'm just as brave as you are, Popeye.
This started Popeye laughing again.
All women is wimps. And scatterbrained, too.
We are not.
Olive was getting very cross now.
Women are braver than men, and sailors, too.
Brutus had been passing and had heard the argument.
Darn tootin' you is, Olive. Why, I bet you wouldn't be frightened to spend the night in Ghoulie Grange, the haunted house on the island of spooks.
Olive was pleased that someone was willing to stand up for her.
Why, Brutus, you are so right.
Good,
Said Brutus, grabbing hold of Olive by her skinny neck and pulling her through the kitchen window.
'cause you can stay in the haunted house for me, babe. If you stay there for one night, I can win $1,000.
Popeye grabbed hold of Olive's legs before they disappeared through the window. He began to pull her back inside.
Hey, you hairy lummox. Bring back me sweet patootie.
Olive squealed as Popeye and Brutus pulled her backwards and forwards like a rope in a tug-of-war game.
Boys, let me go!
Popeye knew how to make Brutus let go. He curled his hand into a fist and slammed it into Brutus's face. Pow! Pow! Brutus went flying back and smashed into the bird table in Olive's garden. Popeye thought Olive would have been pleased, but she wasn't.
Popeye, you shouldn't have hit poor Brutus. You're nothing but a brute, a beast, a ruffian.
Popeye had had enough of being nagged at. He stood in the corner of the kitchen and sulked.
I am what I am, and that's all that I am.
Olive went and packed a small suitcase. Then, with a haughty sniff, she stormed out of the house. She helped the dazed Brutus to his feet, and they walked off down the road, hand in hand. Popeye shouted after her.
Hey, Olive, where you going?
Olive called back.
I'm going to spend the night in Ghoulie Grange. I'll show you who's a wimp, Popeye.
Brutus laughed and pulled a face at Popeye.
Ha ha! You'll lose, Popeye. I've got Olive, and soon I'll be $1,000 richer. Ha ha ha!
But Popeye was worried about Olive.
She thinks she's tough, but she's a wimp. I gotta go to Ghoulie Grange and protect me sweet Petunia, and I'll need some help.
Popeye went and found J. Wellington Wimpy, who was busy scrounging hamburgers from Rough House's cafe. Wimpy was not impressed by Popeye's idea of fun.
You can't, sir. I wouldn't go to the island of spooks for $1,000,000 hamburgers.
Popeye scowled at Wimpy.
You was a scared baby, Wimpy. There's no such thing as ghosts. There's just illusions. You don't got to be frightened. Anyway, if I can't talk yous into going, you don't have to.
Wimpy looked relieved. Phew! I don't! Popeye threw a sack over Wimpy and lifted him onto his back.
Knows you don'ts. But I knows you really wants to, so you is going. I sure gives a convincing argument.
Popeye carried Wimpy aboard his boat. Little baby Sweet Pea was already on board. Popeye wasn't happy to see him.
Sweet Pea, yous can't come with me. It might be dangerous.
Sweet Pea looked sad.
Oh, Popeye, I'll be all right. Honest, I will.
Popeye didn't have time to argue, so the three friends, with Wimpy tied to the mast so he couldn't jump overboard, set sail for the Island of Spooks. Many hours later, Popeye steered the boat into a cove. He could see alligators and sea monsters waiting hungrily in the swamp around them. A thick fog swept in, and the wind howled. Even Popeye felt worried. Then he saw Ghoulie Grange standing on an outcrop of rock above them. The ancient mansion looked like something out of a horror film.
Gosh, that place is creepy enough to send a chill down me spine. But I can't see Olive anywhere.
Popeye docked the boat, and the three friends made their way up along the long and winding path towards Ghoulie Grange. Suddenly, Sweet Pea gave a loud cry.
Popeye, look out!
Popeye looked up to see a large boulder rumbling down the path towards them.
Well, blow me down. We's gonna get splatificated.
Wimpy was too busy quivering with fright to jump out of the way of the large boulder. Oh, dear! I'm going to be flatter than a hamburger! Popeye stuck out his arm and made a fist.
I don't need me spinach to stop this pebble. Me fisk will do nicely.
Kablam! The boulder ran into Popeye's fist and shattered into 1,000,000,000 pieces. Sweet Pea gave a loud cheer.
Well done, Popeye! You saved us. You're the strongest man in the world.
Popeye chuckled and lifted Sweet Pea onto his shoulders.
You're an educated kid and no mistake. You'll probably grow up smarts like your old Uncle Popeye. Now let's get to Ghoulie Grange and find Olive. I think someone pushed that boulder onto us, and I wants their fates to meet me Fisk.
Olive and Brutus were waiting for them at the front door of the house. Olive looked cross.
Popeye, what you doing here? Don't you think I'm coming home with you? 'Cause I'm not. I'm staying here all night. I'll show you that women aren't scared. And Brutus is gonna share the prize money with me. He's a gentleman, not like some ruffians I could mention.
Suddenly, there was a loud groan that echoed throughout the house. Leave here or perish. Olive gave a loud scream and jumped into Popeye's arms.
Popeye, it's the ghost of Ghoulie Grange. Save me! Save me!
Brutus laughed.
It ain't no ghost. It's only the wind. You're a crybaby, Olive. You can go home if you want, but I'm staying to collect 1,000 smackaroonies.
Popeye dropped Olive and walked into the house.
We is staying. No ghost is scaring me off neither. I refuse to leave. Brutus ain't so tough. I knows me arithmetic. 50% of summit is better than 100% of nothing.
Wimpy groaned and headed for the kitchen. If we really must stay, I need hamburgers to keep me going.